In many ways, I consider myself a lazy person, which doesn't mean that I sit at home and I stuffed my face all day while watching bad reruns. It just means that I'd like to protect my free time. I want to do the things that I want to do, so when I found that from beginning of this year to today, I'd 10x my productivity in this Charisma on Command business, I was very happy because that meant I got to spend more time doing things I loved and less time doing things I felt like I had to. This isn't just about making money. This is really about how you spend your life. So if you're interested in more of the good, less of the things you have to do, go through these 4 steps with me right now. Make sure you're writing down because that's how you're going to get the most out of this step. 1 is this very simple Pareto: identify your goal and identify the number 1 thing that is driving you towards that goal. So for me, with the business at the beginning of this year, I had a ton of different balls in the air, but one was doing much better even though it wasn't getting the love, and that was YouTube. I was trying everything on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook ads, but none of them could compare to what, with little effort, YouTube was bringing in terms of viewers and people who would then go on to buy our online courses. So that was clear for you. Whether you're thinking about happiness, in which case you want to think about who are the people, what are the things that I do, the activities that really drive my happiness or skill. Right, with jujitsu, I was trying to learn, and I found that it wasn't actually going to the gym or watch TV all-time grades on YouTube that made me better. It was taking the beginner Gracie University course. No affiliation. Amazing course, really cool guys, and recommend it. If you're interested in learning jujitsu, that was what was driving it forward. So figure out that first thing and just write it down right now. Second is this next to that on a different page. Make a long list of all the other things that you're doing that are supposedly taking you towards that goal. So for my business, I had every social media site imaginable. I thought I needed to be everywhere. I had every podcast request, every interview request, basically all these things that I had FOMO of. I was afraid that if I didn't do it, I would miss out. And ironically, by diverting my attention in all these different things, I was missing out on the real rewards of focusing on something that worked. And that is going to be the case with you too. If you have shiny new object syndrome, which I definitely do. So that's the first group of things that I had. Second group of things that I found was really boiled down to half seduce. And it was email. I was spending 2 to 4 hours a day answering email, and I had to, because some of it was coming from customers in my courses, and I could just leave them out to dry. So that's what I did there. The third, there was a kind of a if you will, which is things that were supportive of my life. So that was laundry, that was eating, that was cleaning, that was, folding my clothes, all this stuff that I did that took time, that was supportive of my life. I wrote that there, step 3, go back to that list, and 2, and eliminate or simplify this as fun as much as you can. So take that shiny new object list for me. This was very tricky to kind of wrap my head around at first, but ultimately so liberating. They were just no's when people would say, man, your stuff will be great on LinkedIn. It was no, I'm not going to do that. I'm doing YouTube, or holy cow. Do you know how much you would pop if you just know I'm doing YouTube? And I can tell you the few times when I got shiny object to just rested me so much. And I had to do that thing. It didn't pan out. It almost never does. When you found something that works, stick to it. Those everything else that hits the eliminate column for the things that you have to do. And there's a lot of this. If you have a day job, right, there's a lot of have to do's for me. It was email. What I needed to do was simplify. And for that, it's worth investing money, time to come up with a better process. So I started with time, and then I realized I needed someone to, 1, clear the emails that were just, I didn't need to get back to. 2nd, help me make templates, and templates are going to help you a lot here for the common questions that you get. And then 3rd, for me, I had all these customer emails coming in, and I had to get back to them, had to be my time. But I realized the hang-up was in getting it from my brain to the page because I'm a slow typer. So just dictating that, sending this audio file to my assistant, having her then send it out, took this process that used to take 2 to 4 hours with everything involved down to 15 to 20 minutes a day. So now I got on my time back. It was amazing. Go through, simplify, eliminate everything. If you're at work, I know this can be tough because even when you eliminate things, guess what? You still stay at least 5 p.m. if you find yourself in that situation. Can't recommend starting a side hustle enough. Maybe we'll do another video on that, but it can be soul-crushing to increase productivity and reap none of the rewards. So let me just say, if you feel that I feel, you will talk more on a different video. But for now, moving on to step forward, this is the one that I'd never come across, and it came from a book called Essentialism that inspired this whole thing, which is called Finding and Killing. You don't have to kill him. Eliminate your Herbies. The reason I say not kill is because surveys an actual person in a story, and the story goes that there's these campers who are on their way through a hike to get to a campground, and the leader is realizing that they're not going to make to the campground by nightfall. They're going to be in trouble. And the reason primarily is because this one kid, Herbie, who is overweight, is just incapable of walking fast enough. He tries everything he tries. Being encouraging, he drives like, come on, Harvey. But he keeps falling behind and the other kid just have to wait, so he has two brilliant insights. The first is that he takes Herbie and he moves him to the front of the line. He says no one can pass Herbie, so now we know where our bottleneck is. Even it doesn't make Herbie feel so good. But the second thing is that it takes all the heavy things out of Herbie's bag, and he redistributes them amongst the other kids. So now that Herbie is lighter, Herbie can walk faster, and every single increase in speed that Herbie gets transferred to the whole group, because Herbie's up front now. And so once the kids are in the actually reversed order of speed, he's able to keep the group together, and they make it to the campground on time. So what does this mean for your life? Well, it's called identifying these emotional and physical barriers to getting that first thing done. Take me YouTube. When I sat down, as if what is stopping me, I was like, man, I hate setting up the lights. I was filming in my room. I was living in Medellin, Colombia at the time, and there would be jackhammers outside. I'd start a clip, and then it would just ruin everything. It was such a pain in the butt, so it took some money. But when we moved, I said, listen, we need a room that is a studio. It's got my lights, it's got my camera. I walk in, I press play, and we go, holy cow, that saves me. Not just 45 minutes of setting everything up, doing sound checks. It saves me this mental anguish that I used to feel when I was like, it's time to shoot a video. It would kill me all right. So that helped a ton a second. Herbie that I had was perfectionism, quite frankly. And this one is a tough one to conquer. And I assume a lot of you guys have it the way that I did with perfectionism. I haven't beat it, but I just get around it by saying I have a deadline. Right, set aggressive deadlines, and you will kill perfectionism because you'll call be perfect deadlines. Now it's got to get out the door, and that's what happens with most of my videos, is they finish on the last day. I'm not perfect at staying ahead of these things. So those are the 4 steps. Just review. 1, figure out your goal, and the number 1 thing that drives you there. Write it down. 2nd, make a long list of all the supposedly helpful things that are getting you there, and you can include things for your life. Right once the business started to grow, we hired a maid and an assistant to help us with food and laundry, which increased more time to put into YouTube, which made that virtuous cycle just run faster 3 once. You've done that. What you want to do is you want to go back and eliminate and simplify everything on that list that's going to be super helpful. 4th, find your Herbies and figure out. This goes back to the first thing that you wrote. These are the mental barriers that are holding you back from doing that first thing. And I'll say I always try to include this in my YouTube videos and the online course that we have, Charisma University. The Herbie for you guys on the other end, I find, is not having actionable steps, which is why I put so much effort into making sure that it's like, write this down, then do this thing, because you can consume YouTube videos all day long. And the Herbie for you is going to be, what do I do? So I hope that I've been able to bestow that on you. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We've got videos like this that'll help you optimize your life, but mostly we focus on charisma and social skills. So we do charisma breakdowns. We take the world's most charismatic people and we talk about what it is that they're doing that is making them come across just so much more genuine, connecting better with other people than most of the people that we see. And of course, we have these videos talking head style where I answer your questions. Any questions, go ahead. Write them in the comment below. And of course, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Hope that you find your Herbies, get rid of them, and I'll see you in the next one.